Recording in progress. Hare Krishna. So we've been reading and discussing Bhagavad Gita, Nectar Devotion, for over 70 hours. Yeah, 77 hours. I think before we was reading for an hour and a half, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we, for logistical reasons, we put it down to an hour. So it means we've been hearing and chanting about Nectar Devotion for perhaps over 90 hours. So it's very good, no? Wonderful. What a better thing to do with our human form of life, you know?
Yeah.
True. So I've got a couple of announcements to make before we begin. I think some of you might have seen that we're going to have the Sunday feast is going to start again, Hari Bol, which is on the 6th. The first one will be the 6th of March. So you might note that down in your calendars if you can come. That'll be the 6th of March, the first Sunday. Now, the timings are going to change, I think, as Dojitanya said. So the timings, it might be in the early afternoon. But so stay tuned for further updates on the Sunday feast. And another thing as well is tomorrow, some of you might have saw we're reintroducing our Bhagavad Gita Sangha, which we used to do. Well, we were doing for many, many years, and then Mr. COVID came along and made a mess of things. So that's going on tomorrow night. So if you happen to live a close train journey or bus journey, it's convenient for you, you can come in, because we're trying to get back into the culture again of having face-to-face discussions as well. So we're having a Bhagavad Gita class at 6 o'clock. So at the moment, it seems we don't have so much traffic coming into the temple that we used to have. And that's because of COVID and everything added to it. So now things are calming down quite a bit. So we're trying to encourage more devotees again to come to the temple. And so at least once a week, there'll be Bhagavad Gita class and Bhagavad Gita Sangha from 7:30 to 9. And you can come, sit down for 10 minutes, sit down for 15 minutes, however, whatever time you have, you can come and join us. Simple. I think most of you know the setup. We sit in a circle and everyone reads a purple and then we just discuss.
Are you starting from the beginning?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I was thinking what to do, where to start from. I guess it makes sense, isn't it? Because we haven't. Yeah, so we'll be starting from
newcomers as well, new people coming.
Yeah, so anyone who's around in the temple, then we normally ask them if they want to join. So let's see how many. We're going to throw the net out, see how many.
It's just late, 7:30 to 9.
Yeah, it is. It is late for most people, so it's not for everyone. But just that's what I'm saying. If it's convenient for you, you can come along. Yeah. And another.
Well, you will not be recording it on your YouTube, because I mean that's.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking to do that, but do you know this devotee, Ian, very enthusiastic color devotee from the manor?
Yes, yes.
Very wonderful devotee.
Oh, amazing devotee.
Yeah, and he's doing, and he mentioned that from his experience, once it goes on YouTube, then not many people are going to come. Because they're all going to sit at home.
No, but just for your sake, because
I mean,
not for your sake as such, just to put it out there without announcing that you are doing it. Perhaps at the end you could say that, you can find it on YouTube if you've missed any classes.
I'm thinking of, but just what Ian said, maybe perhaps at least for the first week, I want to get going. If it seems like people are coming, then we could perhaps try to do something, put it on YouTube. Because what I was going to do, so this announcement's getting a bit long now, but anyway, but what I did have an idea of doing a few years back is to create a Facebook page for Bhagavad Gita Sangha. So the discussion we have on a Friday, if anyone's got any questions or comments on the points we discussed, they can just ask them during the week and we can carry on the discussion. So I'm thinking of doing that, and I spoke to a couple of devotees about the techniques of recording it. But at the moment, the first couple of weeks, I just want to get the thing going and make it a bit simple rather than having to set up cameras and microphones and stuff like that. So I just
Yeah,
want to get the wheels moving
Yeah.
first.
I agree. People would get into a habit. Okay, right. It's coming on Friday. I can listen on Saturday, Monday.
Yeah, so I want to try and invoke some people to come in person. You know, I want some some human interaction again.
Yeah.
Well, this is human interaction as well, but on a different level. And another thing as well I mean, there's a few people listening to these recordings. I see there's some listening to recordings. So, and yourselves as well, if you miss a class, you can always catch up on it. And so what you can do as well, if anyone is listening to a recording of this, then you can make comments as well in the recording, you know, where it says comments on YouTube, and you can ask questions or you can give reflections, you know, and then we can continue discussion that we had. So if anyone out there is managed to watch this and is still here with us, that's a good sign. Yeah, it's nice. I'm seeing I mean, a lot of people are visiting it. Some will stay for a couple of minutes and some a bit longer. But so if you're out there and you're listening to these recordings, you can please, you're welcome to ask questions or any feedback as well. Is also very nice. And also for the devotees here who are regulars, who've all been doing this here and chanting for a long time, because it's going out a bit on YouTube, please don't I mean, I don't want devotees to feel hesitant to make comments or ask questions.
Well, I feel that.
Yeah, so please just be in the mood that, you know, don't worry about, there's so much, there's millions of YouTube stuff out there. Most people are just going to look at the recordings for a couple of minutes. And I think it's only going to be us who miss a class who might be making full use of it. And there might be some others as well. So please, don't feel, oh, there might be like too many people out there on the recording. Let's try and forget it's happening and just let's carry on with the nice sangha, you know. It's just all right. Just want to make them a few. And what I think,
Be doing our Bhagavad Gita after Nectar of Devotion.
yeah, we're gonna do Bhagavad Gita after Nectar Devotion,
Yes.
and that I might kind of open that out a bit.
He can. Yeah.
So make it open so other devotees can join the
People can
discussion.
join, yeah. Good
So let's
idea.
just do that as an experiment so we can open it out
Mm.
and see how it goes. And one more thing as well is it'd be good if perhaps someone, or I think perhaps if someone can volunteer, this is quite a big thing I'm proposing now, someone can volunteer each week, and it might be one or even two devotees, different devotees, each week to actually take notes of the main points that strike you in our discussion. Just take your own notes and write it down. And then when we finish, we can just hear what you've, or what you're going to take home with you, or put certain reflections that struck you. Did that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not
Yeah.
everyone write down a note and then just the most
Yeah,
common-
but yeah, I mean, I would encourage everyone to, but it might take a bit long to go through. If we got like 10 or 15 people,
Okay.
it might be another half an hour. So it'd just be a few minutes at the end. So if anyone is in the mood for doing that, you have a notepad and you're, oh, that was nice. That really struck me. We
Right.
can
I just like Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, I just put down like Upper Sampradaya, like Jat Goswami, Akas Goswamis, like that.
yeah,
that-
whatever. Yeah, you can do that if you want.
The kind of thing I do. I just make just a few
Yeah.
points.
It may be just titles of points we discussed, or it might be some, well, that was a really point which I think I'm gonna.
What we do in the Wednesday Bhagavad Gita Sangha is the person gives a talk and then
Okay.
he will have about 4 or 5 questions. I said on the word, does somebody understand and can they give an answer to this question? And most people would say yes, there's this. And then people start asking question to the speaker. First, the speaker will ask a question, 3 or 4
ask
questions.
Yeah.
How much have you
Sometimes
understood?
I do that. Yeah. Sometimes I do that. I might put you on the spot. and ask questions. Yeah.
And then people ask the speaker questions, and it's a
Yeah,
nice
ask the speaker,
discussion.
yeah. Yeah, it's nice to create this culture of culture of reflection, questions as well. It's always very nice when the discussion opens up like that, you know. Yeah, yeah. So it's good to different ideas to keep the conversation positive. Well, it is positive anyway. It's Krishna Katha, but how we can make it more attractive to each other and to others listening as well. All right, so we are on the nectar of devotion. Let's perhaps begin, and let's just begin by offering prayers to the Sat Goswamis there in the beginning of Nectar of Devotion. Nana Shastra Vijanene Nipano Satama Samstapako Lokanam Hitakaruno Tribhavane Manyan Saranya Koro Radha Krishna Padada Vinda Bhajanan Nandela Matalako Vande Rupa Sanatana Ragayago Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatana Ragayago Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizing, studying all the revealed scriptures, with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles, with the aim of establishing, let me read that again. Who are very expert in scrutinizing, studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of. Why? Because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Okay, so we are.
Question straight away.
Sorry?
Question straight away. Okay, reading
Yeah.
this, I'm like thinking, thus they are honored all over the three worlds, as they are worth taking shelter of, because they are absorbed in the mood of gopis.
Yeah.
But they are the gopis, so
Well, I guess that's why they're in the mood of the gopis. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
They are. Yeah, I mean, they happen to be man. They have to be manjaris. That means they're young assistants to the gopis. Yeah. So like that's their mood. That's their stahi bhav. That's their mood, and that's what they're absorbed in, even though they're in quote unquote the material realm. So internally, they're in the spiritual realm. Yeah. Was that confusing for you, or is that?
no, it's not confusing. I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting when I was just reading that.
Yes.
Why do we take shelter of the six Goswamis? Because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis. It's quite esoteric, isn't it?
Mm.
Perhaps because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis, and that's the love that Lord Chaitanya has come to give, and they're engaged. So we're taking shelter of Rupa Goswami.
Yeah.
Like you can think that they're in the mood of gopis because they're manjaris and they're serving under the Goswami, the Astasakhi.
Yeah, there's serving Radha Krishna. Now, is it me or something wrong with my volume when is Chandravali's voice low to everyone, or is it just me?
Is it low?
I think it's you, Murli, probably seems to be fine.
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
have to look into what's going on. I've had this trouble the last couple of readings. Anyway, so let's go into chapter 49, I think. So you all the devotees here becoming Rasika Bhaktas, describing the mixing of rasas. And we came up with a nice, thanks to Savannah Radhika, she stopped us in our reading and said, "Can we understand more about this?" Do you remember that? And then we stopped to try and identify the exact rasas that's being mentioned, and lots of little wonderful leaders and pastimes came out. So where are we in this chapter?
We start with Vishala, a cowhead boy, 49, chapter 49.
Okay, I'm scrolling down. Everyone's scrolling down now. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Scroll, scroll, scroll.
Almost towards the end.
Okay, almost towards the end. There's an example. When Kubja, Vishala, a cowherd boy. That's the
Yeah.
what? Vishala, a cowherd boy. Okay, I see some hands there. I can see Sahachari Mother, you have your hand. You can. So we'll stop at each paragraph and just make sure that, yeah, let's stop and churn the nectar of each paragraph.
Thank you. Vishala, a cowherd boy who was attempting to fight with Bhadrasena, was addressed by another cowherd boy as follows. Why are you attempting to show your chivalrous spirit before me? Before this, you even attempted to fight with Sridham, but you must know that Sridham does not care to fight with hundreds of Balrams. So why are you acting so enthusiastically when you actually has no importance at all? This is an example of mixture of devotional fraternity and chivalry. The chivalry is taken as the whole and the fraternity is taken as the part.
Okay, so this is, I think it's quite self-evident. Can everyone perhaps just explain the fraternity? Why is that used, that word?
Because they're both cowherd boys friends.
Yeah, that's it. They're both cowherd boys. So they have this Sakyaras, this friendship with Krishna. So that's the, so it's interesting that that's the part here. The main exchange is, what's the main rasa that they're exchanging, the secondary rasa?
Chivalry.
Chivalry, yeah. That's the main thing. That's mentions the whole. So they're as we've read, the cowherd boys are wont to wrestle with each other. That's one of their occupations of a cowherd boy. Cowherd boys to fight and wrestle with each other. So they're kind of could say joking here. Chivalrous. They have that. They're in this chivalrous ras. I can defeat you. You know, I am the best wrestler. You know, quite a nice, intimate relationship to have with God, isn't it? Where you can wrestle with God. Yeah. Amazing philosophy, isn't it? If you try and explain this to, with all due respect to other theists, but when you try to explain, you can wrestle with God.
I don't think it will apply to women because women will.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So like then you can say you can dance with God.
Yeah.
Of course.
Dance with God. All right. Any other comments or questions or insights into this? Then we can, otherwise we can read another one. I'll go quiet for a few seconds, see if there's anything. Okay. Someone could read the next one. I see, you can see Lavangalatika, you have your hand there. You can read.
Yeah. Shishupal was habituated to calling Krishna ill names, and by his insults he irritated the sons of Pandu more than he irritated Krishna. The Pandavas therefore equipped themselves with all kinds of weapons to kill Shishupal. Their feelings were a mixture of ecstatic anger and fraternity, the anger being taken as the whole and fraternity as the part.
Okay, so let's analyze this a bit. Perhaps Mother Lavanga Latika, you can explain a bit here what you understood to be.
Yeah.
Go on.
Anger is the whole and fraternity as the part. So the fraternity was the Pandavas were related to Krishna.
So some noises. Just say that again. I couldn't hear you. I've got a problem with my sound.
The fraternity was the Krishna and the Pandavas are related.
Okay, yeah.
Like they're friends. Arjuna is one of the Pandavas, so they are friends.
What's it mean
And
by,
the
yeah, what does it
Huh?
mean by ecstatic anger? It doesn't sound very compatible, is it?
anger.
If you're angry, you're not very ecstatic.
Yeah, but it's related to Krishna. So if you're if you're angry in like they're defending Krishna, so for them it's ecstatic because they love Krishna so much and they're jumping to his defense, like they want
Yeah,
to kill Shishupal. So for
yeah,
them,
yeah, very,
it's
very, very
killing
nice.
the perfection of their fighting spirit.
Yeah, it's very nicely explained. Yeah, so they have such a loving relationship with Krishna, and they're think they cannot to actually hear Krishna blasphemed that way by Shishupal. It's like in like a flame of anger, but that anger is a symptom, as you're saying, of their ecstatic love.
Yeah.
They have so much love and affection for Krishna. To hear someone like Shishupal, it must have been painful for them, isn't it? He was going on and on, wasn't it?
Yeah,
He had a certain amount of time, on and on, and I think it was this pastime. I think it's described how I think because Bhima was there as well. Oh, is it either Bhima or Bhishma? One of the two. But they as soon as he started blaspheming Krishna, immediately like practically smoke was coming out of his ears, and he put his hand on his sword and was just about to go, but Krishna just smilingly just put his hand up and said, it's the whole pastime. There's a certain amount of times.
Yeah.
Anyone can tell us quickly about Shishupal? I forgot the details now. He's Shishupal. There's a certain he was going to be killed by Krishna, wasn't it? And his mother came to know of it. She was very much
Yes, that's
distressed.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
He was born with 3 eyes, third eye.
Yeah,
The mother was upset, and then somebody said that the person who holds him and the eye disappears would be his killer.
okay.
Right. And it was Krishna, wasn't it? And this is how it disappeared.
So
Yeah.
the mom is an aunt, so she says, please save him, save him. And he says, okay, I will forgive his 100 offenses.
Yeah, that was it.
After
So,
that, I'm not responsible. You know?
so someone very explained it. Krishna was counting 57, 58, 59, 60 he was going on, 61, 62, 78, 99, 100. And Sudarshan
There
Chakra.
goes Sudarshan.
Yeah, and there's that graphic picture. I think I pointed out
You
before.
had that, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now they've edited that picture a bit, where you don't like in the early pictures you can actually see his head coming off with all blood everywhere.
Yes.
But now you see it. It's just a chakra going towards his head.
Okay.
Anyway, so then yeah, so that's quite yeah. This pastime here is outside of Vrindavan. Where did that take part? That was in I always get someone get it wrong. It's Mathura or Dwarka?
I think it was in Dwarka.
Yagya.
I was
No,
at the Yagna,
it
wasn't
was
it? It
in
was
Indraprastha, where
yeah,
Yudhishthir had
Indraprastha.
his
Thank you, Rasa.
yajna.
Yagya. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was the what's Rajasuya Yagna,
Yeah, right. That's Surya.
Crowning ceremony.
and Krishna was elected as the first person to be worshipped, and that really
Wow.
riled up Shishupal like anything.
He was
Because,
against even Rukmani as well. Remember, he's supposed to get married and left
Yeah, so he was all set to marry Rukmini, and who came along and took Rukmini away?
her. Of course.
Naughty
Krishna.
boy.
Haribol.
So he already hated him before that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
when Krishna did that, he was, you can imagine, he's more envious and more antagonistic. And then when Krishna's chosen to be the most worshipful person, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Anyway, as the pastime unfolds. Okay, so that's ecstatic anger and fraternity. So, Mother Chandravali, you have your hand up there, you can read.
Ooh, let me see, who am I reading? Okay. Once Krishna was watching Sridham very expertly using his stick to fight with Balaram, who was an expert club fighter and who had even killed the Palambasura demon with his club. When Krishna saw Balaram finally defeated by Sridham, who was using only a small stick, Krishna became filled with pleasure and began to look upon Sridham with great wonder. In this instance, there is a mixture of astonishment, fraternity, and chivalry in devotional service. The fraternity and chivalry are considered the part, and the astonishment is considered the whole.
Okay, let's puff. Let's fan this out. Let's say fan out the cotton. Make it. So perhaps you can help us, Chandravali. You can the
I think
fraternity, the chivalry, astonishment. There's wonder, astonishment, fraternity, chivalry. Here. Where's the wonder?
wonder is like oh, I don't know. You know, like Sridham using a small stick when Balram is supposed to be expert. He's a club fighter.
Yeah, interesting pastime. He's
Yeah.
he's just joking with. He's using a small stick and he's giving Balaram a good fight.
Yes,
What's going on
that's
here?
right.
Yeah.
And those astonished, like just standing there watching, like, what are you doing? You know, you want to got a small stick and you're fighting with somebody
So
who
like,
can.
who's astonished? It's Krishna, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And fraternity. Go on, you can carry on. Fraternity.
Oh, anybody else can do it. I'm
Well,
just thinking.
they're all cowherd boys again. The simple one.
Yeah.
And chivalry.
Yeah. It's kind of astonishment. So it's like games. They're playing games.
Yeah, that's it. Playing games.
It's
The
like fun
chivalry.
games, you know. And they would like with each other can be like a bit boyish, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Again, so we're hearing about Sakirashna.
Accurate. Yeah.
When they go to take their cows out,
Yeah,
the kind of
and
things they must be.
yeah. As soon as they're out of the sight of the elders, they break into so many games and laughter. You know, you can read about that in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think when Sukadev Goswami he's speaking about this the pastimes of the Gopas, and I forget the Sanskrit now. Vajrabahu, I forget now. He describes that they are. How fortunate are these cowherd boys? Yeah.
Yeah.
How fortunate. Sukadev Goswami just kind of stops in his narration of these pastimes and just reflects back to Maharaj Yudhisthira, to Maharaj Parikshit. So, how fortunate are these boys to get to actually play in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yeah, Sukadev Goswami kind of has a reflection, ecstatic reflection on the fortune of these cowherd boys. All right, we've got 3 more paragraphs to go.
And to think that you there and Krishna really loves you.
Yeah,
Yeah, just wow, it's just amazing. But then also he says that they've done lots of austerities and.
yeah, that's the verse actually. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. It describes it because of their austerities and their piety. This is devotional piety. They have achieved such a position. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how about hands are out there. I've got to bring up. Let's see, hands up. There's no hands up.
Your hand.
What I can pick someone to read. I'm looking through who's here. Mano Mohini.
I can read,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, you've been requested to read.
Yeah. Expert analysis of these various kinds of mellows instructs us that when different mellows overlap one another, the mellow which is the whole or the prominent humor is called the permanent ecstasy. It is confirmed in the Vishnu Dharmottara that when there are many mellows of devotional ecstasy mixed together, the prominent one or the whole is called the steady ecstasy of devotional service. Although the subordinate melos may be manifested for a certain time, at the length it will become merged into the prominent whole. Thus, it is called an unconstitutional ecstasy of devotional service.
Perhaps just, yeah, stop. Okay, what's going on here?
What's going on here?
Any insight? There was her asked a question. What's the
know.
word? What it says? There's a prominent humor. There's you know
Humor.
we've got the five main rasas, and then I think how many is it? Six. And then we've got the secondary rasas. So what's another name for the prominent humor? We've used it before when we've been reading Nectar Devotion. See if anyone's
Prominent humor.
Was it Hasyaras?
No, Hasyaras is a secondary.
That's secondary.
Yeah, it's might be difficult to get actually. Stahi Bhav.
Ah,
You know that word? So the prominent humor of the cowherd boys is Vatsalya Ras. That's the
Yeah.
Stahi Bhav. That's their permanent ecstasy, or also relationship, which is because it's in relationship to Krishna, it's ecstasy. So that's the permanent one.
How can Vatsalyaras would be with the gopis, not with the cowherd boys who play with Krishna?
Oh,
That would be
did I say the
sacred.
wrong word? Yeah, Vatsalya Ras is with the is with the gopas.
Yeah, it's Gopas, Vatsalya, friendly.
friendly.
Yeah.
Friendly, yeah,
These boys
sorry.
are playing with Krishna, so they are his friends.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's the Stahi Bhav. That's the permanent, like here. Oh, you're not. The permanent humor
I see.
or permanent ecstasy. Another word is Stahi Bhav, and that's one of the five primary relationships with Krishna.
Okay.
So can we say Yashoda is permanent?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm getting it wrong here. Excuse me, I'm trying to think too fast. Vatsalya Bhav is Mother Soda, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's what
me.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to correct me. So Vatsalya Bhav, and then because Vatsalya sounds like fraternal, but no, fraternal. Yeah, let's backtrack. So fraternal relationship with with Krishna, with the Gopas, is this Stahi Bhav. Sorry, that was a test there. Well done for spotting the mistake.
I was thinking, where am I going wrong here?
Yeah, no, it's me going wrong. Yeah. So, what else can we? Let's not go forward to the next paragraph until we've understood this one.
Yes.
We will fast until we understand this.
I've
Okay.
eaten too.
So does that mean there are only 5 permanent rasas,
Yeah.
stai bhavs?
Yeah,
Nothing
it.
else can be a stai bhav.
yeah,
Only those 5 relationships.
yeah. That's the permanent ecstasy. That's the prominent humor. And then all these other secondary rasas, they kind of mix, or that's what produces all. That's what comes from all the different pastimes, and they spike, kind of, the main mood of relationship, where then they experience chivalry, they experience wonder, they experience laughter, or sometimes horror. Yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it says, when there are many mellows of devotional ecstasy mixed together, the prominent one, the stay bhav, is called steady ecstasy. Although the subordinate mellow, that's the subordinate mellows, may be manifested for a certain time. And this is what I couldn't quite understand. At length, it will become merged into the prominent whole. Anyone could help us with that? What does it mean there?
The coward boys are in Vatsalya,
Yeah, sorry, I'm causing.
friendship, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, in friendship. That is better to me using that kind of word. So their main aim, they're friends, okay? So in between, say they were playing, they could get a bit angry with us, so other things will come up. But their main thing is their friends.
yeah.
And they
So does
love,
that describe this? At length it will become merged into the prominent whole.
yeah, isn't it like, I'm only explaining a little bit, but like a bigger picture, say they're playing, I don't know, they're friends, they're playing, but they could get, when they're in two teams, then they get into like,
Yeah, yeah. So
you
it,
know what I mean?
so
I can't explain nicely, but
yeah, I think
you know
from
what I'm
hearing what you're
thinking.
saying, then it's just like the main prominent mood is friendship, and say they're having a chivalrous wrestling, it kind of it becomes really part of their relationship as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of merges into it as a problem, but not the merge in the negative sense of the term, but it becomes really part of that exchange of
I
friendship.
give you, I give you a little example. You know, when Krishna eats dirt, and then he's
Krishna
running
eats
to his
dirt.
mother and dirt,
Dirt we don't.
mud.
Krishna eats
Mud.
puris and
No,
sabji.
No, when he plays that
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
eating
Sure.
something, and then he goes to Mother Yashoda, and he's telling her, "Oh, Balram, I haven't eaten anything. It's Balram. They were playing, and he did this and he did that." So it's like, you know, all different rasas in there, but eventually they're all like friends, you know.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have these jokes with each other. Sometimes they may tattle
Yeah,
to Mother
yeah.
Yasoda of what
Tit
Krishna's
tat, but
doing. Yeah.
yes,
So this is
yes,
why also here Prabhupada uses the word unconstitutional ecstasy of devotional service. So the word unconstitutional, I think we can't exactly use the dictionary meaning, but it means it. I think, as far as I can understand, it just doesn't. It means it's not the prominent humor.
yes.
It's not the prominent humor. So Prabhupada uses the word unconstitutional, as far as I can understand, to mean not the prominent rasa. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
to help
was
us
also
sorry?
I was also thinking about another way, like say the older gopis, when Krishna goes and eats yogurt and all that, they come running to complain to Yashoda
Yeah.
what Krishna is doing. But they complain for the sake of complaining, but they're loving that he's coming to do these things.
Yeah, that's a nice detail there, isn't it? They actually love it when Krishna comes to steal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Or even the same thing with the jewelry. When Yashoda puts so much jewelry and they say, but he comes and he can see because the jewelry is of really lighting up. So
Yeah.
she says, okay, then I won't dress him like that. And said, no, 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 no. Make sure you dress him like that, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Because well, yeah, as you know, because he's so beautiful and he's so charming that
yes,
just observing his antics of coming and stealing the yogurt, etc., is so enchanting and
They can't resist him.
yeah. But still, they play the role of being, you know, elders and chastising him.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But then other rasas are in there. The love for him is there. Their parental love is there in a way, you know, elder
What else is
gopis.
there? Yeah, because because the other mothers they share obviously this Vatsalya rasa with Krishna. They want to know, they want to see him nourished, they want to see him protected. They actually they have, as we know, they have more affection for Krishna than they do their own
Their own.
sons or their own children. That's illustrated in what pastime is that illustrated in?
Oh,
Brahma.
Brahma.
Yeah,
Brahma.
Brahma Vimohan Leela, when
Yeah.
Krishna manifests
Yeah.
as their sons and for the cows, their calves. Yeah. All right, perhaps let's read another paragraph because there's there's a analogy, if I pronounce that right, which helps us to understand what the paragraph we've just read. So let me see who's out there. Mother Hladini, I can see your name there. You like to read? I'm going to pick on devotees who don't normally read. But perhaps you're busy doing something. You might not be able to.
Probably working.
Okay, she might be working. So,
When
Anupama,
Kishore is there.
Anupama, I can see your name there.
I can read Hare Krishna.
Yeah, wonderful, yeah.
There's a good analogy in this connection,
Analogy, that's it, yeah.
showing the relationship between the part and the whole. Lord Vamanadeva is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he appeared to have been born as one of the brothers of Indra. Although Vamanadeva is sometimes taken as a less important demigod, he is actually the maintainer of Indra, the king of the demigods. Thus, although sometimes Vamanadeva is considered to be a subordinate demigod, his actual position is that of the supreme whole, the source of the entire demigod system. In this way, a rasa which is actually prominent may sometimes appear to be manifested in a subordinate way, although its actual position is as the main, sorry, just trying to get the screen down, or prominent loving feeling of a devotee.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit inattentive there when you was reading, so we're going to need some help to understand this one.
Um,
What's going on here exactly? Let's try and understand it. Let's read through it again. There is a good analogy in this connection showing the relationship between the part and the whole. Lord Vamanadev is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He appeared to have been born as one of the brothers of Indra, although Vamanadev is sometimes taken as a less important demigod. Right, so that's a mistake. he is actually because he is actually the maintainer of Indra, the king of the demigods. Thus, although sometimes Vamanadev is considered to be a subordinate demigod, his actual position is that of the supreme whole, the source of the entire demigod system. In this way, a rasa which is actually prominent. So, what's the prominent rasa?
Well, Vamandev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well done. May sometimes appear to be manifest in a subordinate way, so they think of him as a
demigod.
Yeah, okay, that's quite true. Although his actual position is as the main or prominent loving, or although its actual position is as the main or prominent loving feeling of a devotee. What is that? What's Prabhupada saying there exactly?
I
The last
think
sentence.
he's saying I think he's saying that because of his loving feelings towards the devotee, he takes the subordinate position.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Although its actual position is as the main or prominent loving feeling of in a subordinate way. Is manifested in a subordinate way. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else on that? Does that sound like a good explanation for that? Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
Maharaj is he's devotee, and he's come to correct him.
Yeah. So perhaps Anupama, if you could just read this last paragraph as well.
Okay. When an unconstitutional ecstasy of devotional service is manifested prominently at a certain time, it is still accepted as the part. If it is not very prominently manifested, it appears only slightly and merges quickly back into the whole. At such times of slight appearance, no consideration is given to it. When one is eating some palatable dishes, if one also eats a small blade of grass, he will not taste it, nor will he care to distinguish what its taste is like.
Oh, okay. It's amazing how much detail Rupa Goswami gets into, isn't it?
Yeah.
Analyzing all of the relationships and rasas with Krishna. So what's going on here? Someone can shed some light on this for us in their own words. And otherwise, I'll give you a few seconds, then I give some prompts. So again, what's the unconstitutional ecstasy?
Yeah, that's not the permanent ecstasy, the stai-bhav. It's not a stai-bhav. It's a secondary ras.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. So So when that is manifest, when that
When that
becomes
becomes
prominent,
prominent, yeah.
it is still accepted as the part, because that's what Prabhupada has already described. The Rupa Goswami, it's a part of the Stahibhav. Now sometimes it may not be prominent. It may be as it's slightly come. The mood might slightly come. So it's not much consideration is given to it. So quite straightforward. And a nice example is given, just like you're eating a feast, you know. And someone brings someone brings a blade of grass. It's not really a main function. It's not your main thing. It's not the main thing of the prasadam. You know. So anyway,
So with the unconstitutional ecstasy of devotional service, is Krishna appearing not as the Supreme Lord because that's his constitutional position? It's
I don't know about
appearing.
that. I think this is referring to these secondary rasas,
Okay.
unconstitutional ecstasy.
Okay, yes, it's just
Yeah, I'm
referring to
pretty
Rasa.
sure it's meant to the secondary rasas, as in compared to the prominent rasa, the stahibhav. So these come and go. Like sometimes they're fighting, so sometimes they're feeling there's chivalrous, sometimes there's wonder, sometimes there's joking. And it comes and goes. Yeah, and it may stay for some time. It may just come very briefly and go. But the
So
one
that's
that's always there is there's also, I think Rupa Goswami describes it as the, or perhaps Danadal Swami, perhaps might be in his translation, describes it as the king of rasas, or the king of relationship is the stahibhav, and everything else is subordinate to the king of the ecstatic relationship, which is stahibhav. Okay, so let's check the time. We've got 10 minutes left, so
so Prabhu, this word unconstitutional is
yeah.
the ecstasies come and go. It's like secondary. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it exactly. Perhaps someone, while we're doing this, perhaps some other Sahachari or someone could you just if you can you look what is the secondary rasas? Are you there, Mother Sahachari?
Yes, Murali Prabhu, will do.
Yeah, you just be looking what is the secondary rasas, and then we can just be reminding
Yeah.
of them
There
because
was a chapter somewhere, wasn't it?
yeah, you can be looking, and then while we're reading the next chapter,
I
what's
was
the
thinking of writing them down. I should have done that.
yeah, I mean, there's 12 rasas. There's five main ones. That leaves 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So the other 7. Is that right? 5 plus. Excuse my math. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So the other ones are okay. We'll hear about that in a minute. Just to remind. So now let's go into the next chapter. Let's
But
see.
should write them down so then we can keep going back to it.
Okay. So if you thought that was detailed,
There's some
this
more.
chapter is called further analysis of mixed rasas. So interesting where this is going to take us. All right. Let's see who's out there. Suniti Priya, perhaps you can read for us. You can read the first 2 paragraphs, perhaps, and then we can stop and see if we've understood what's going to happen here.
As already described, if certain kinds of mallow becomes mixed and there is joining of opposite mallows, then the situation is called incompatible. Yeah, when one is eating sweet rice and sometimes salty or sour and mixed in, the mixture is not very tasteful and is called incompatible. An exemplary instance and incompatibly is statement by the impersonalist who is limiting aloud I have been attached simply to the impersonal Brahma features, and I have passed my days uselessly in practicing trance. I have not given any proper attention to Sri Krishna, who is the source of impersonal Brahma and who is the reservoir of all transcendental pleasure. In this statement, there are trance of
Tracy.
neutrality
Traces.
and and conjugal love and resultantly human and incapable.
Incompatible.
The two you wanted these are the two you wanted me to read?
Yeah. Just stop there.
Incapable. Yeah, sorry.
Like you almost have to be like a mathematician, isn't it, to perhaps understand what's going on here. So let's see if we can we clear what's being described.
You want the well secondary rasas
Yeah,
Murli
perhaps
Prabhu?
if you could just type them in the chat,
Chat, yeah, I'll do that.
and then we can all look at that. You can all look at that in the chat. Once you've done that, we can. So yeah, someone could enlighten us on this a bit. What's going on here?
First, the person is talking is attached to impersonal Brahman feature, and then is saying that I have not given any attention to Sri Krishna, who is a source of impersonal Brahman. So he's looking at personal Krishna and impersonal Brahman together, which
Oh,
is
very
not
good. Yeah, so
compatible.
that's the incompatibility. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. It's not compatible. Yeah. He's realized that his sadhana and his meditation is not actually compatible actually for, you could say, Uttam Bhakti. Yeah. I have not given any proper attention to Krishna. So that could be the salt in the sweet rice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, he's like realized he's having a reflection. He's reflecting. So this is I think this is familiar. I think it's a exchange which took place in Dwarka. I think this is recited elsewhere, where they're actually seeing Krishna. It's interesting because in Dwarka there was different types of transcendentalists even. Obviously they're all devotees of Krishna, but there were some persons who would be worshipping Brahman. Yeah, but when they see Krishna, he's coming and going, then they realize actually the person in this Brahman is coming from is actually coming from Krishna. Yeah, so let me worship, let me just meditate upon Krishna. That's what he's saying here. I'm not giving any proper attention to Krishna. So the interesting here, the last sentence in this statement, there are traces of neutrality. Excuse me, and that neutrality is
Being an impersonalist.
yeah, Brahmavadi. But what's the conjugal love? How how did that come out here?
It, where I see the love is, no, it can't be conjugal love, no.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Conjugal love. In this statement, there are traces, so it's a small amount of 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 neutrality. Yeah, we can understand that. But conjugal love, it's
With the
not
reservoir
explicitly
of
stated.
But doesn't it
transcendental
say
pleasure.
it's incompatible?
No.
Sorry, Chandravali.
In this statement, there's traces of neutral and conjugal love, and the resulting humor is incompatible. So they cannot have the conjugal love.
Yeah, I'm just saying, where is that trace? This is a someone say, let's just say this someone in Dwarka who's meditating on Brahman. Then they
Yeah.
realize the proper
Realize-
attention should be on Krishna.
But
So, but there's no
Chandravali,
actual. It's not saying that that this person has. Or it's not any examples. He's like meditating on Krishna's beautiful form, and that type of conjugal attraction.
but Prabhu Chandravali just pointed it out because
Yeah,
the
go on.
next word, the resulting humor is incompatible. It says that there are traces of neutrality and conjugal love.
Yes, it's not there because he's only just realized he's been meditating on Brahman feature, and then he's come to realize that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But yet, the conjugal love is not going to be there yet. You know.
All right. So perhaps perhaps he does that. He has not a self-evident, but perhaps his relationship is in that mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's said. But I just interesting. It's if this conjugal love, if that word wasn't there, we would never guess that this was the mood of this particular devotee.
Yeah.
But it's there, so
Yeah.
it's slight traces.
And that's why it says, and the resulting humor is incompatible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, doesn't work.
Because he's not at that platform,
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
that realization.
All right. Yeah. I should have had. Perhaps I'll get out for next week. We'll get Dhanadar Swami's waves of devotion. Sometimes he gives interesting details to help us understand a bit more. Now just check the time. It's 6:58, so we'll probably have to stop there. And let's just go to the chat. I have to open up. Let's see. Thank you, Sarchari, for doing that. So everyone, open the chat, and you can see these are the secondary. Or these are all the rasas. No, these are secondary rasas. Rodra, anger, adbhuta, wonder. Oh, them. No, these are all the rasas. Shrinkara, conjugal, hasya, comedy, vira, chivalry, daya, mercy, dasya, servitorship, sakya, fraternity, bhayanaka, horror,
Bhayanka.
bibhatsa, shock, shanta, neutrality, vatsalya, parenthood. Okay, so if you haven't, I think mentioned before, if you are studying Bhakta Sastri, this is often the question. Please name the 12 rasas in relationship to Krishna's, the, the, the main ones and the secondary ones. Okay, perhaps, so let's hear any of, for the last couple of minutes, anyone took any notes or something which kind of struck you or you liked, or perhaps one or two devotees?
I think we were too busy meditating on each word, each paragraph,
Okay, yeah, okay, perhaps I'll allow that.
analyzing that each paragraph to think about writing anything down.
Right, anyone perhaps can just reflect back then, anything they can offer.
Permanent rasas and secondary rasas.
Yeah, that's seemed the main point that we kind of brought out here, isn't it? We mentioned it a lot of times.
And how, the permanent ras is the there's a whole and the part, and
Yeah.
sometimes the permanent ras can be the part.
Yeah, or it becomes subordinate when the main exchange is like chivalry. Yeah.
Yes, and you can have overlapping of these, and the secondary one will merge into the whole one.
Yeah. What does the merge into the whole mean exactly?
I think you said it becomes part of that relationship.
Yeah, at least for some time, maybe a small amount of time or for an extended time. It's almost, yeah, that is like, say, like Sridham's in a mood to wrestle. So whenever Krishna meets Sridham in the cowherd fields, then there's a wrestling match. You know, it becomes part of his relationship as a friend to always wrestle with Krishna or Balaram like that. All right.
Can
Okay,
I just say quickly, just
sorry?
quickly, like I just want to correct something quickly, think for myself. Say a devotee has got a main rasa, right? Whatever rasa he's in. And then all these other rasas might just come in a little bit at a time, right? But eventually the main rasa that he's in would come up.
Not exactly. I mean, you got the main Stahi Bhav, and
Right.
based on that, all these other rasas will be experienced according to the Leela or pastimes. Yeah. So the
Right.
cowherd boys, for instance, they particularly will, well, actually, the cowherd boys, you know, they will perhaps experience anger, wonder, but they won't experience conjugal love. Okay,
Oh,
so
no, 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 no.
so it's incompatible. But there be comedy, there's chivalry, mercy, servitorship, fraternity, horror, shock, and neutrality. So it's not as if it's not like if I understand you correctly, like the more one progresses in prema, then all of these become manifest. No, you got the
No,
main rasa, and then these just manifest in the particular Leela with Krishna. Yeah, and it just helps to enhance the whole loving exchange. So, in other words, it's just explaining. So, say if the relationship is friendship with Krishna, it's not just they're just friends and they're just smile at each other and they're just like
no,
robots.
no. Other, yeah.
No, there's a whole lot going on. There's wrestling, there's joking, there's, you know, there's comedy, there's teasing each other, there's, you know, hiding things from each other, there's, and all these different moods will be seen. Comedy, like who's the person who makes Krishna laugh a lot and all the cowherd boys? What's his name?
Madhumangal.
Madhu Mongol.
Madhu,
So whenever he's on the scene, there's comedy. Yeah, like that.
But the main rasa would be friendship, right?
Yeah, that's always there.
Yeah.
And the others may
So
come and go.
even if they're joking, angry,
Yeah,
wrestling, that all this would be there, but their main rasa is, that's what I
yeah.
was trying to
That's why it's
even
called that's why it's called the king. It's a Stahi Bhav.
right,
Remember, Stahi means steady.
steady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, much as we would like to
Thank
go
you.
on churning the nectar of nectar devotion, let's continue next week with the further analysis of rasa.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you everyone, and look forward to again to our readings begin next week, beginning on
Monday.
Monday, and so.
His Grace Holy Prabhu ki
Hari
jai.
Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all the Vaishnavis.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.